class. Now we're going to look at 7 through 12. Then we're going to get a nice refresher on our 3 big properties. I know we've been spending a lot of time on these. So you're like, Miss Guy, I don't remember what the first property was. We haven't seen it in a while. So today we're going to bring all of our properties together. Okay? So let's take a look at number 7. I want to do number 7 and 8 together, then see if I have some volunteers. I'd like to put 9 through 12 up on the board for us, okay? All right, so number 7. Number 7, guys, please keep in mind, on the 2, there's that little 1 exponent. So we have to multiply. We're going to have 2 to the 3rd power. And then we have 3 times 4, x to the 12. X to the 12. And then another 3 times 4, we have y to the 12. What the heck? Come on. There we go. We have y to the 12. Now, we also talked yesterday, we got the calculators back out. It had been a while since we used the calculators for exponents. 2 to the 3rd, we simplified that to be 8. And then we just have x to the 12th, y to the 12th. Now, if you didn't have these finished, guys, at least make the effort to get them down as we're going through them. Okay, we had a lot of time yesterday, and some of us chose just to sit and talk. Some of us chose to sit and do nothing. There's lots of us in here to help. So to say you didn't do them because you didn't understand them, you have 3 of us in here that can help you. There's 3 of us in here to help you. So we have to start making that choice of, yep, I'm going to try it. All right, number 8, just to get our brains going. Remember, the 5 has a 1 on it, so it's going to be 5 to the 3rd. Mm-hmm. And then, as I walked around yesterday, those of you that were trying these out, some of you on the M, some of you missed that the M also has a 1. So you're going to have an M to the 3rd, and then 3 times 3 gives us n to the 9th. 5 to the 3rd, if you put it in your calculator, remember, guys, it's not 15. It's 5 times 5 times 5. You get 125. M to the 3rd, n to the 9th. So now that we looked at those 2, those of you that had these finished already, I want you to take a couple minutes and look through 9 through 12 and make sure you're confident with your answers. Those of you that didn't try them for today, take that time and try out. So let's see what we can do. If you need your calculator, grab your calculator. So again, if you already did them, double check your 9 through 12. I'll be asking for volunteers in just a minute. Double check. If you didn't get a chance to try them out, please. I really like what Sam wrote up there for number 9 because some of you got a little stuck. We're like, hey, wait, there's no number in front. Well, if you want to put a number in front, you can. There's really a 1 there. If it's bugging you that there's no number there, you can put a 1 like Sam did if you want. What happens, though, when we square 1? What do we get? 1 squared would just be 1 times 1, so we just get a 1. Mathematicians are kind of lazy. They don't like to write the 1s. So if you didn't have the 1 there, the 1 is totally fine being there. If you didn't have the 1, this is okay too. If you didn't have the 1, that's okay too. In number 10, this is the piece that some of us are missing. I think we've all caught on to the exponents are getting multiplied. But the one piece that a couple of us are still missing is seeing that that 6 also has an exponent of 1. So we actually end up with, and Chase jumped right to 36, that's okay. We're going to have 6 squared, y squared, and then we have x to the 8th. So 6 squared, or 6 to the 2nd power, that's where Chase got 36. You have to also remember that that 6 has an exponent of 1. Number 11, we don't have that number out front to worry about. So we just have to do 4 times 2 to give us u to the 8th. And then we do 3 times 2 to give us v to the 6. Then in number 12, we again see, guys, that 2 there, that big 2, that base of 2, it has an exponent of 1. So we do have to do 2 to the 4th. That's where Colin got 16 at. 2 to the 4th is 16. And then we have to do 4 times 4, so x to the 16th. And then another 4 times 4, so we get y to the 16th. 2 to the 4th is 16, just like they have up there. So thank you, my volunteers. That looks really, really good, what you have up there. Looks really good.
You're welcome.
Before we take our break today, what I want to do is go ahead and summarize our 3 properties, and I have a sheet for us to do that. I want to go ahead and summarize our properties, and then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back and we'll get some practice on all those properties. And there's only 3 of them, so it's not like we have 15 of them. I know some of you are thinking, Miss Golly, you just gave me this sheet, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows on it. Miss Golly, we only have 3 properties. You're right, we do only have 3. We have a couple more we're going to learn, and we'll probably start on those tomorrow. If we don't get them tomorrow, it'll be the next day. Let's take a look at the ones, though, that we have seen. We're going to start with, I'm just going to put a little star by it. We're going to start with, there we go, the product rule. So it's going to be the second row for you, the product rule. That was the very first property we learned. So if we have 2 powers, remember, power is base and exponent. So if we have 2 powers, we're multiplying. What happens with the exponents? What happens? Remember?
They plus.
They plus, yes. They add together. Whoops, that's a terrible looking X. Whoops, and I'm on the wrong row. Let's try that again. Here we go. They add together. So if we're multiplying 2 powers that have the same base,
Like that.
we add the exponents together. So off to the side, what I did, we have the rule there in that column. And then off to the side, there's just a couple that we can do as examples for us. So this should be an awesome resource when we go to review for our quiz and when we go to review for our test. This should be an awesome resource for us. So off to the side, go ahead and try questions 1 and 2, just off on that right-hand side. So the property is we're adding the exponents. Let's see what we can come up with. Question 1, as I walked around, everybody right away, h to the 8th. Then all of a sudden we're sitting and, I don't know, 2 looks a lot harder, so I'm just going to kind of hang out here. What's making 2 so much harder? What's bugging us about 2? Caden, what's bugging us?
I think it looks deceiving because it's so big.
Yeah, because it's big, it makes it look tougher, right? Are we going to do anything different? No. But I think some of us are getting stuck because of that -2 and the 7. Like, Miss Golly, what goes on with those again? Chase, can you tell me, Chase, what did you do with your -2 and the 7 on that one, Chase?
Multiply.
Yeah. He just multiplied them. They're not the same number. They're not the same base. So all I can do is multiply that -2 and 7 together. That's all we can do. And Chase got -14 for that. So all I can do is multiply those 2 coefficients together. That's all I can do. There's nothing for me to add there. I know I saw some of us had a 5 on our paper because we tried to add those. We can only add the exponents. Now, is it okay from there? What do I do with the a's? What are we going to get? A to the what? What do you think, Sam?
A to the 6.
A to the, what are we going to do with the exponents? We're going to add them. We're going to get a to the 5th. Now, be careful on this one. Be careful with the B's, yeah.
In second.
It's going to be b to the second because, remember guys, if there's not an exponent there, lazy mathematicians, they didn't write the ones. So it is really a 1 plus 1. There is really a b to the second there. Okay, that's why we're going back through and reviewing these, because I know when we did this one a couple classes ago, you guys were all rocking it. But now since then, we've added 2 more properties. So now that's why I wanted to go back and make this little organizer so we can go back and refresh on all of them and then have a resource that helps us keep it straight. All right, let's take a look. This one, the power rule, this one should be fresh. What do we do when we have an exponent inside the parentheses and one outside? What's going to happen with those two? Sam, what's going to happen? We just added on the last one. We're going to times. We're going to multiply. So if you want to, you can put a little dot there. You can put the little X if you like, whatever you like for multiply. This is the one we just did. This is the one we just did. And I forgot, guys, the number 2 on this, guys, I forgot to change it. I forgot to change the number 2 on this one. So what I need you to do is just cross out, and actually I'll cross it out on mine too. I won't just white it out. Cross out that m to the 3rd piece. We don't want that in there. We don't need to take it to that level. So this is the one we just did. So what I would like you to try are the questions 1 and 2 for that power rule. Try out 1 and 2 for the power rule. Let's see what we can do on that.
We got this one.
Okay, guys, so we've tried these. And just like with our product rule, number 1, as I walked around, number 1, we rocked it. Number 1 on both of these shows me you've got the basic idea. Number 1 shows, yep, we've got the basics. Number 2 then means, yep, I've really got this property. With number 2, and it's the same thing that happened on the worksheet. Majority of people had -2, and they had an m to the 10th. What are we missing, though? What else has an exponent? Because some are like, no, Miss Golly, that looks great. Let's move on and do that quotient rule. What does the -2 really have? It has a 1 exponent. So that means I need to take that -2 and I need to square it. But now remember, negatives, though, it's been a little while since we talked about negative bases, so I want to make sure I threw one in on our review of the properties. You have to, with the negative bases, we've got to use parentheses on our calculator. We have to use parentheses. So we have to remember that -2 has an exponent of 1, so we're going to have 1 times 2, we're going to have it squared. And then when I put it in the calculator, I need those parentheses. Because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. Now again, this is the reason why we're going through and reviewing. When we went through these one by one, we were rocking it by the end of that lesson. Or by the end of our practice, we were rocking these one by one. But now we have to go back, refresh on them, and make sure we've got all 3. All right, our last one we're going to talk about, then we'll take a little break and come back and get some refresher practice on all these. And now you have a resource, though. Now you're going to have a resource to help you out. We have all 3 of our rules, and you have 2 examples to help you on each rule. You have 2 examples to help you on each rule. All right, so the quotient rule. So when we divide, what do we do with the exponents? What's the other thing we did? We've added, we've multiplied. What are we going to do? Subtract, yeah. So we had an addition, we had a multiplication. Now when we divide, we subtract. When we divide, we subtract. So go ahead, try out. And actually, I'm going to change question 2. Go ahead and do question 1. I've decided I don't like question 2.
What?
I don't like question 2, so go ahead and try question 1. I'm going to do a new question 2. There we go. Please change your question 2 to match mine. I've decided I don't like question number 2 very much that I had on there. So please make your question 2 match mine and go ahead and try those 2 out.
I'm just so nervous.
You're fine. So I know for a lot of us guys on question 1, we've got the x to the 4th part. Now for the fraction, we just talked about on the calculator. We pressed 27, we did the ABC key, we did 42, and we pressed enter, and it gave us the fraction 9/14. 9/14. So the 27 over 42, we put that in the calculator. 27, ABC key, 42. We pressed enter and the calculator told us it's 9/14. Those big numbers out front, those coefficients, if we're looking at division, we still divide them. The exponents we subtract. That's where I'm noticing we're struggling is whatever we do with the exponents, we're also trying to do with those bigger numbers, those coefficients. Remember in the denominator, that x really has that 1 on it. That x really has that 1 exponent. So it's 5 minus 1. We do get 4 there. We do get 4. Has everybody had a chance to try out the second one? Make sure on the second question, guys, make sure you changed it to match mine. Now the second question, the 16 and 14, that's a little bit more what we like to see. Because 16 divided by 4, well, that's just 4. But remember, we're dividing. The 16 and the 4, we don't subtract those. We subtract the exponents. So then we have 4 minus 3. You don't have to write the exponent of 1 on the A. You don't have to write the 1 with the A. You don't have to. And then for the B's, we have to remember there's a 1 for the exponent there. So we do get B to the 4th. So now what you should have when we start reviewing for our quiz, this was the start of it, but I want to give you some practice problems. We are going to take a little break. I want to give you some practice problems to help you further review for our little quiz. And the quiz isn't huge, guys. It's only, can't remember, it's either 5 or 6 questions. It's not huge. But now what you have with this sheet is it's showing you all 3 big properties, and you have 2 examples of how to use each property. This is a valuable resource for you. So when you get those practice problems, I want us to try. Not just sit there and wait for either myself or Mr. Andrews to come around and help. You have a resource, try. Okay, that's what I want us to start doing. Don't sit and wait for somebody to help. If you're stuck, get the hand up and we'll come around and help you. But if you're just sitting there, we don't know if you're stuck or if you just don't want to do it. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's take a little break. You now have your graphic organizer that has all 3 properties, what we do with the exponents, and you have 2 examples for each property to help you. What I want you to try on this sheet, There's a front and a back. For right now, all I want you to try, though, are just the problems that have an odd number in front of them.
What?
So you're going to do every other problem. So you're going to do 1, 3, 5, 7, etc.
17. Yep.
Just start by doing every other problem. There's a front side and a back
I
side.
wanted to do 17 because look how big those numbers are.
You guys can do that.
Start by doing every other problem. You have your resource sheet. You should be able to, guys. We have about almost 10 minutes left. You should be able to get a lot of these done in 10 minutes. Yeah. You should be able to get a lot done in 10 minutes. Let's see what we can get done. And then we'll start class tomorrow by checking these.